This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details. And
Minneapolis, get ready. Music legend Paul McCartney is bringing his Got Back tour to US Bank Stadium October 17th. Tickets drop July 18th at 10 a.m. But beat the rush. You can register for a pre-sale. PaulMcCartneyGotBack.com. One night, one icon. Don't miss it. Full details available. KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
It's a family affair here at the Fan. Final hour, Nordo in for PA. It's the summertime, it's sunny, and it's sticky. Text message machine. Twins-related text from earlier. Thanks again to Dan Hayes of The Athletic for joining. But I got this from Randy from Richmond, Virginia, about our next guest, Lavelle E Neal III, Star Tribune, StarTribune.com. Lavelle was on Dan Barrero on Friday. And as we know, the columnist, this is a quarter century. I've worked at the Fan for about 12 years. I'm the newest guy here by 10 miles, and that includes a lot of the longtime mainstay guests like Lavelle. But he'll join 9 to noon weekly. He's been on with Barrero for decades, it feels like, maybe Fridays or Mondays, whenever. Those days are tending to shift. But he's all over the place. So this is from Randy from Richmond, Virginia. Got listeners all over the place. Free iHeartRadio app. How about that? Lavelle was on Barrero Friday telling all of us a story about his road rage incident. We now call him Left Lane Lavelle. You should ask him about his road rage story. It's funny. So, at Lavelle Neal via X covers the Minnesota Twins. And actually, I want to get into, I think it was published just this morning on Star Tribune, talking about the pitching, some things leveling out for a team that meatloafed their final 3 series into the break. 2 out of 3 is good for this particular team. 11.5 out of the division, 4 out of the wild card. All-star game tonight. So I was going to start with baseball for the seam heads. What's up with this road rage story? Left Lane Lavelle, welcome to the show. Good morning. And is there something we need to know?
No, I was headed home Friday, actually, before I got on the air. That's why I was stuck in my craw, because it had just happened when I got home. But I was headed on Highway 52, and all of a sudden a Jeep comes around me. Okay. And as he comes around me, he throws his hand out of the window at me. Really? As if, you're in my way. He kept me from going. Now, it's 4:30, so it's kind of like rush hour. Yeah. There's a bunch of cars on the road. So he found a way to weave around.
Sure.
And he gets in front of me and he kind of flips me off. So I had my window down because I was enjoying the breeze, Yeah. And I just put my hand out going, what's up with that? And then all of a sudden the middle finger comes out. Ooh. And then I go, what are you talking about? I put my hand back out of the window, comes back again, So then I wait about 5 seconds. I still stick my hand out again. Yeah. Now we're going down the highway now. I'm just sticking my hand out going, what's your problem? And the guy's just throwing the finger up. So apparently, the only thing I can deduct is that I didn't move over for him. Right. Which, as I've talked about, if I'm in the middle of a 500-mile drive and I'm on I-70 driving through Central Hill, Kansas.
Sure.
If someone's coming up behind me in the left, and then I'm going to move over and let them pass. Right. But if I'm in an urban area during rush hour, I don't see why I need to do that.
Okay.
Especially on 994 where there's 3 lanes. You could always find a lane to go to, So I wasn't buying this whole need to move over bit because, one, there were a bunch of cars on the road, and I think this guy was already kind of slaloming through the traffic. So we did that for about a mile and a half.
So he's flipping you the bird.
Yeah. I'm asking why.
And you're just you're asking why, or may I have some more? And then he kept flipping you the bird.
So we both got off at the same exit. So now it's
but
there's a red light now at the bottom of the exit.
So this is an important thing because I'm not perfect.
No.
And over the course of my adult life, one thing that I've really had to work on personally is patience specifically on the road. So I've always driven a little bit faster than traffic, which again, that's a choice that
doesn't.
Well, right. But in the same sense, kind of it's almost my selfishness. Kind of I don't give people grace. Mm-hmm. I'm infinitely better at it than I was years ago. But I don't give I don't give people grace. My time means more than theirs. Mm-hmm. And why aren't they instinctively knowing where I'm going and what I'm planning and how quickly I need to get there? Why don't they know that and just move over? So frustration and a lack of patience has been a big part of me over my adult life. And so I can picture that guy being mad, but then I'm having a hard time understanding. He passes you on the right, flips his arm out the window.
Yeah.
That's pre-bird. So the initial one was more of the, right. What are you doing? But then he clearly does not. I mean, this wasn't an open road for 10 miles where he just speeds off into the sunset. He passes you on the right, and then he's like a car length and a half in front of you, just flipping you the bird for the next 5 miles.
That maneuver got him nowhere because I followed him all the way down the road till when we got off at the same exit. And then the light was red. So fortunately, he was making a left, I was making a right. So I actually pulled next to him and stopped.
Oh, beautiful.
And looked at him and smiled and waved.
Oh,
and then it drove.
That's so good.
And all I could see, there was a passenger, and all I could see, like, a head was, like, bobbing back and forth. So I'm sure he was, like, dropping all kinds of F-bombs on me, too. But,
so left lane Lavelle, you were driving 10 miles under the speed limit. You were slower than the flow of traffic.
I was going above the speed limit.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
And see, my situation, if I'm driving, like, on 94, and I'm in the left lane, and I'm pulling up on the car behind, I'm looking, okay, do I have space to go around him? I'm not demanding that he moves over, because I just think that's something you don't expect when you're driving in the city. Right. Once you get out of the city, get into rural areas, especially semi coming up behind you.
Oh, yeah.
Let the guy's working, I'm not, go ahead and do your thing.
Yeah.
But in the city, no. And it's weird because I usually for some reason, I get the red ass on the road, and I usually start, saying choice words to people, when stuff happens. And that time I was more like, man, you were really pissed off about something. I really don't know why you're that mad. Well, I was actually getting entertainment out of it. I wasn't angry.
Isn't it weird too? And again, I say this from a spot of I'm hypocritical in this respect because I've absolutely been the jerk. Mm-hmm. But there's this weird thing about we are in our cars. Mm-hmm. So somehow, despite the fact that I can see your face at the stoplight, you can see my face. Mm-hmm. There's some there's almost like this force field of anonymity where if I'm in line at the gas station and you're in front of me, you're a big scratch off ticket guy. I don't know if maybe you are, but the guy that scratches off the tickets or gal that scratches off the tickets at the counter. And meanwhile, I'm just trying to grab this gas station burrito that I got from the hot tray. I'm trying to move on with my day. And there's pleasantries being exchanged and life stories and all of this. And then they run their card and they accidentally hit no to verify the purchase instead of yes. And now we got to redo the whole thing again. Like, I would not say to this guy or gal, like, can you move it? Idiot. There's people behind you. I would never do that. But for some reason in a vehicle, despite the fact that, and I drive a Jeep, by the way, so my face is like 9 inches from the windshield. For some reason, I can feel safe enough to visibly be annoyed if someone is not acquiescing to my lack of patience. Mm-hmm. There's this weird thing in cars where we are just awful to each other.
I know.
Despite the fact that we're not really anonymous. We're out there. We're in the public square.
Yeah, plus in your situation, too, in your example, there's moments where we've been on that end of that when we're at, and we've hit the wrong button, or we hit the yellow button instead of the green button, or and you're wasting people's time behind you. So I try to remember the moments when I'm patiently waiting in line for someone to get done, and then some kid runs up, "Mommy, can I have some of these juicy fruits?" "Oh, darling, no." Guys go through all that. So that's the standing in line.
That's the key is and it's difficult. And again, I say this as being hypocritical. Giving people grace and dignity. Yeah. and having a little bit of patience on the road. I'm not trying to make this into some sort of feel-good moralistic moment, But that's something that I've struggled with, and it wouldn't have been too long ago in which I could have been that guy in the Jeep.
Now, my patience is tested coming out of here. One, if I need to go get some Costco gas.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people pull in front of people and just cut people off.
Well, that's post-apocalyptic over there.
I'm like, you got
all times of the day.
And then going on 394 toward downtown Minneapolis.
Lowry Tunnel.
Yeah, and there's always a backup for cars getting on 94, and inevitably someone jumps out. Someone will jump out in the left lane while you're chugging along at 55.
Yeah,
they're doing 10. They jump out, and you got to slam on your brakes, and you feel your computer bag in the back seat come flying up into your back, and that's when I get the road rage and start using choice words at that driver of that vehicle.
Over the course of time, I've decided either I'm a far left lane guy when you get towards the Lowry Hill Tunnel, or you just got to sit in that far right lane and just deal with it.
I like space, so I like sitting in the middle lane, so I can either go left or right.
But you are at the mercy of the jump outs then.
I know.
Keep your head on a swivel.
Even if you're in the left lane, you're at the mercy of the jump outs.
It can be from time to time because the jump out causes the lane change to the far left. And here I am just trying to adjust the cooling on my seats. Well, what's your thought on the Penn Avenue pilfering? I don't know what the alliteration of it would be. You take the Penn Avenue stoplight, that bridge, and those that have the merge lane, you can either stay on the Dunwoody exit down there, or you can drive all the way into that merge area and then jam yourself in.
I go through that every day on Highway 52, that goofy bridge that goes over into downtown St. Paul, because there's one exit to go eastbound on 94. The other one is westbound on 94. And the third one is to get off at 7th Street.
Yeah.
And the middle one is always backed up. And there's always jumpers, either on the left or on the right.
Yep.
Going all the way down. And then that drives me up the wall. I almost wish they'd have dividers, but then I would just push the backup back because all the jostling would just start farther back. If you just had those little, those little sticky, those sticks that are dividers, So it was a terribly constructed bridge. It used to just run right into 7th Street, and you'd hang a left to go down 7th. But they changed it when they redid the bridge. It was right after the bridge disaster.
Yep.
It was the bridge.
Was that 07 when that thing collapsed?
Yeah, something like that. So the Highway 52 bridge was considered like the next neediest bridge in terms of being replaced. So they replaced it. But there used to be a red Savoy pizza sitting at the bottom of that hill, and cars used to come flying off of that, and occasionally run into the Savoy grill. So they actually had a concrete barrier put up just to block cars from just crashing into the restaurant. But now they just totally took the 7th Street aspect out of it and made 7th Street an exit ramp. And it's just added to the whole spaghetti bowl that whole area is. Because once you go eastbound on 94 off 52, the next thing you're fighting is people heading westbound on 94 to go on northbound 35E. I wish I could explain. I wish I could I hope you can visualize this, but it's just a mess in that area, which I thought that exit could have been designed better to avoid.
This from the text line 64686. First, Lavelle E. Neal was a Bears fan. Then, a Polad pocket protector. And now, a left lane dawdler. You're a left lane dawdler.
Dawdler? That doesn't have a ring to it.
No, it doesn't. Left lane, just left lane Lavelle.
Lurker?
Left lane. Are you a lurker?
I don't know. I'm lurking in the left lane.
Because we're all being open about things today. Okay. Here it is, Nordoin for PA, along with the left lane lurker, Lavelle E Neal III, columnist, Star Tribune. Your most recent article that I read, I believe it was from this morning, Lavelle. You can tell me if I'm late to the party on this. But talking about the baseball team moving into the break, and we can get to all the ins and outs of the situation, but how important it has been to stabilize specifically via pitching. Mm-hmm. So Festa, last couple outings, more competent, kind of stemming the tide, limiting the bleeding.
Beat the Tigers, beat the Cubs. Two offenses that aren't shabby.
And then you have Simeon Woods Richardson. Now he's got handcuffs on him because the team is terrified of him facing the lineup the third time through. So I think it's 5 and fly is a mandate from Rocco and the team with Simeon. But he has helped stabilize things. So where's your head at specifically maybe with those couple of guys, how important they've been for a team that has won Basically 6 of their last 9, right? Meatloaf in the last few series.
Yeah, it's been crazy to watch how this pitcher staff has performed because it was just a wreck in June when they had like a 6 ERA, which was the worst. They had the worst pitching ERA in baseball. And this was supposed to be the strength of the team, you know. In July so far, it's a 3.11 ERA, which is, I believe, 5th best in baseball. So it's kind of reverted back to what they were doing in May. So it's been kind of a roller coaster. And yeah, they've had to take some L's with Pablo Lopez and Zebby Matthews and now Bailey Ober, you know, but guys like Festa and Simeon have stepped up, thrown more strikes. Both gentlemen had the same issue about falling behind too many hitters, getting predictable, and just paying the price for that and taking lumps. And Simeon had to go down to the minors for a little bit. You know, Festa, you know, had a shoulder issue for a while, so he missed like almost 3 weeks. So they had to kind of overcome some of those obstacles to get to where they're at now, and especially for someone like Simeon, because you can't. He doesn't have like a drop dead, you know, dominating pitch.
Right.
He has a pitch mix, so he has to get ahead, avoid being predictable, so hitters don't start ambushing first pitch fastballs. Then he has to continue to be one step ahead of hitters once he gets ahead in the count. And he has to use all 4 quadrants of the strike zone to be effective. And he impresses me because there's some pitching acumen with him that's allowing him to be competitive. We saw this last year when he was going great until he ran out of gas in August and they had to shut him down. And we're seeing this again now, starting with the game in Houston when he threw 5 shutout innings. Over his last 6 outings, I believe he has a 1.47 ERA.
Ooh.
So he has stepped up when the rotations needed it the most. Ryan's been a rock star. He has stepped up and lived Pablo Lopez's life the best he could. Chris Paddock is Chris Paddock. He's going to be great sometimes. He's going to be not great sometimes. You know, he's the epitome of a number 5 starter in a rotation. In fact, I probably would take Chris Paddock as a number 5 over a lot of teams' number 5s.
Really?
You know. The only problem with Chris is that sometimes he falls in love with his changeup too much, and then that gets him into trouble.
Yeah.
But you know, Festa's got a liver arm than Simeon. He's got a ability to change speeds. But so when he throws strikes, it really helps him out too. Both Simeon and Festa have stepped up here lately and competed. I just remember a year ago we were at that point where they needed Festa, they needed Zebby to come up here just raw, just green, you know. And try to help this team not fall apart like it did, you know, down the stretch. And Rocco was trying to manage young guys, you know, and these guys have a little bit of experience now, and they're in a better position to help out. Zebby was fantastic in a 4-inning outing for St. Paul. I believe he touched 99 on the gun.
Okay.
He threw like 4 shutout innings, struck out 7, something like that. There's a good chance he'll be activated during this road trip. If he's able to go 4, I can imagine that he'll probably be on a 70 pitch limit if the Twins call him up. But I expect him to, because the way the rotation's set up, because of injuries, the Twins have been using a bullpen game every 5th day. Okay, so they have 3 games against Colorado, against the Rockies coming out of the break, and then they go to Chavez Ravine. Where a lot of us had the dulcet tones of Vin Scully in the background, and I used, you know, had a chance to meet Vince. 20 years ago, the Twins were there. That was a great series. So Alyssa Milano was in the stands. Torrey Hunter stole a home run from someone, and Michael Clark Duncan came down to the dugout between innings to demand to talk to Torrey so he could congratulate him on a great catch. And who's going to say no to like a 6'8" large man coming up to the dugout saying, "I want to talk to Torrey Hunter"? So that went up. But I went to introduce myself to Vin. He goes, "Lavelle, it is a pleasure to meet you." Aww. You know, so we had, you know, a great conversation.
How good is that?
But getting back to the baseball part of it, so the bullpen game would be the second game of that 3-game series against the Dodgers. I don't think the Twins want to go to a bullpen game against the Dodgers.
No, thank you.
I'm expecting Zebby to get to be in the rotation by that point, avoiding that possibility, because they could get blasted out of the water in game 1.
Yeah.
And then, they face a bullpen game in game 2 would really be problematic. So, we'll see.
You mentioned these bullpen games. I guess, there's no good solution, but you kind of provide options, right? I mean, it's trade-offs. If you are going to have, whether it's Zebby, who's going to be, even when he's re-elevated, you have to imagine he's short-shifting it until something cracks or something is proven. Same with Simeon. I mean, can you let the leash off a little bit and give him a little bit more room? Because with the bullpen game, you mentioned every fifth day, in combination with the fact that 2 or 3 of your starters will throw Paddock in, and basically anybody not named Joe Ryan right now, you're going to run extra innings out of your pen as it is. At some point, we just need an extra inning per start out of 1 or 2 of these guys to take some miles off the bullpen.
I'm glad you brought that up because I asked Rocco about that after Sunday's game. Well, my question was, are you liking what you're getting out of Simeon lately? So I really had gotten to the point about, did you think about leaving him in?
Yeah.
Rocco brought it up. And he said, under normal circumstances, I probably would have let him just continue to pitch. But it's the last game before the week All-Star break. I got a whole bullpen at my disposal. I decided to go with my guys. So now I could get that because the Twins bullpen has been effective again. Griffin Jacks lives on a roller coaster a little bit. It's weird.
But he's in a good spot right now, isn't he?
He is, but then he had that one outing where he gave up like 3 consecutive tappers in front of the mound, and all hell broke loose with fielding and throwing. And I was like, boy, this guy's having a weird year because he's got wipeout stuff, but then weird stuff happens to him. So, and I tend to believe that even with the best bullpens in baseball, whenever you start swinging that door open, you're playing reliever roulette, and there's going to be one bullet in the chamber. It's going to kill your night because someone's having a bad game, got into an argument with someone the night before, maybe sick, maybe worried about a sick kid, and just is not on his game, when you start playing reliever roulette. But Rocco went with his guys. It worked out. They just didn't get the offense. And my goodness, can we get this team to just pick it up a little more offensively? There's some guys there who are really setting this team back. I mean, Carlos Correa has a 0.1 WAR. All right. Cody Clemens has a higher WAR than Carlos Correa. And Cody Clemens hasn't been here all year.
Yep.
Carlos has. Based on the Major League Baseball schedule, he's making $192,000 a day.
Yeah, you're getting more out of Clemens. You're getting more out of Bader. You're getting more out of these, also Rans than you are from your $35 million guy.
Now, Carlos is drawing a couple walks, and he's getting a couple balls, CNI singles here, but this isn't the Correa the Twins are paying for.
No.
They want to see the guy who's hitting an occasional home run, hitting those bombs to right center field like he used to against the Twins. He's not been that guy. And this their second half success is going to be tied to his bat and Royce Lewis's bat and Matt Wallner's bat. Those 3 guys have got to get it going. I look at Matt Wallner. I see a guy, when he swings, there's 40 homers in that bat. Yep. I see 40 homers. But it's not translating right now.
No.
So before he hit his last home run, I think his average was down to 210. What's he batting now? Wallner is batting 205.
That's a disaster.
No, yeah, he's got to work on it. Let's see, but the OPS is just 747. If his OPS was like 790, 800, they're like, okay, but his OPS is fine. It's above average at least. So he's got to get going. And Royce is out of excuses, man. He's been healthy for a stretch of time. He teased us with all those grand slams 2 years ago, and he has not been the same hitter twice. Not been the same hitter since. I apologize. So, we need to see more from these 3 guys so this offense could be more sustainable. Because, you put it all on the pitching staff, and you can win that way, but it really it gives the pitching staff no room for error. And that could wear a team down.
It definitely can. That's Lavelle E Neal III, also known as the left lane lollygagger or the left lane laggard. What do you think about laggard?
Lollygagger is not bad, but 4 syllables.
Yeah.
Lurker,
tough.
I still think.
Yeah, left lane. It's Lavelle E Neal III, columnist, Star Tribune, StarTribune.com. More on the Minnesota Twins. We need bats to improve, and here's where we're at. This is all in the midst of a delightful season from Byron Buxton. Joe Ryan as well, the horse that he's been for this team and healthy. They're going to be in the All-Star game, and a team that's 4 games out of the wild card race. How does that look as they jumpstart things back into the mix on Friday in the Mile High? Brett's got a cash giveaway. We'll pause, and we'll be right back with more Lavelle right here 9 to noon.
The fan at BigDeck.com going to give you a shot to win bonus bucks to the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com. Enter the keyword bills for this hour. Keyword bills, KFAN.com. Keyword bills, more Lavelle.
The last thing anyone wants is to leave behind confusion, stress, or worse, family conflict. That's why estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for families like mine, and probably like yours. With Trust and Will, I created my estate plan in minutes, from naming guardians for my kids to putting our house in a trust to avoid probate. Fast, affordable, and way easier than I thought. Every plan is designed by estate planning attorneys and customized for your state. Plans start at just $199 and include essentials like healthcare directives and power of attorney. With Trust and Will's bank-level security and built-in privacy protections, your personal information and your wishes stay safe. Whether you're newly married, raising kids, caring for aging parents, or just want peace of mind, Trust and Will makes it easy to protect what matters most. Go to trustandwill.com, use code RADIO at checkout, and save 20% on your personalized plan. Because there's no better time to protect the people you love. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Hell no. Bonus Box is back on KFAN. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. That's every hour from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. To enter keywords and to learn more, head to KFAN.com. Bonus Box is presented by BigDeck.com.
Chuck from Medina, how about the passing lane protagonist? I like that. The passing lane protagonist. Also, closed circuit to...
I argue that's not a passing lane if you're in an urban area.
Yeah, that's not correct. You don't think so?
No, not at all. I don't expect people to move out of my way when I'm driving down 94 or 52. I just got to go around them.
Okay. I think it's still a passing lane.
But I think in the interstate, like a 94 is still a pass. But if you're on the left lane, on Hennepin, then I think it's fair game.
On Hennepin?
Any city street.
I think in general,
city street. I'm just talking about highway driving.
Yeah, I think it's still a passing lane. But it goes to case by case. In this particular one, you have somebody that's frustrated with you. Maybe you're given the car in front of you. You're all driving 30, and you're just kind of cozy. You're cozying your way down the road. Right. You're in rush hour, and you're giving the guy 3-4 car lengths, and that guy thinks you should be on their butt. And so then he gets frustrated, jumps in front of you. It amounts to nothing, and then you spend the next 5 miles exchanging hand gestures.
This guy might have been violating a time and space continuum, and just didn't care about that and just wanted his way. But
closed circuit to the show that follows us, the program, weekdays noon to 3. Common Man Dan Cole, of course. This texter, we're on your way out. Can you let Common know you've already covered traffic etiquette and specifically the Dunwoody exit so he can skip that 20 minutes during his show?
I always love that one.
You know what? I'm not going to take that away from him. As we say in the business of it's different time slot, different listeners. Okay. So I think the people that are listening noon to 3, I would not want to deprive them.
No, he's the master taking something out of nothing.
Yes, he is. Absolutely. And now, Lavelle E Neal III mentioning whether it's Festa, it's Simeon Woods Richardson, stabilizing the pitching staff. And it might be 5 and fly, and that might affect the bullpen. And Rocco's got to figure that out. That's his job as the manager, and we hope he will. But this is all in the midst while we're lamenting Carlos Correa's season and Royce Lewis. What on earth happened to 2 out of our big 3? We're getting Meatloaf the wrong way right now. But Buxton remains the constant. Mm-hmm. And he's having the best year of his career. Got to see him in the home run derby last night. And moving forward, the faith that we have in Buxton to continue doing what he does. Getting to see him and Joe Ryan on the big stage tonight, that's going to be pretty fun. All kind of ushering in Friday where it's the big sprint.
Yeah, I was just glad to see that he got out of the first round of the home run derby yesterday. Because I know him and Tommy Watkins put in a lot of work because Buck does not take batting practice on the field. And he usually prepares for games in the indoor cages and goes about his business that way. And this past week, after he decided he was going, he was out on the field having Tommy throw to him so they could start kind of building a rapport. And Tommy also called Joe Vavra, who pitched to Morneau in the 2008 home run derby, which Morneau won, for advice on being, a good BP pitcher.
Yeah.
So they were getting after it. And I know Tommy was nervous. Tommy was definitely nervous going into this thing, but I thought he acquitted himself well. And getting out of the first round. It's too bad. Kind of hit a rut there in the second round because Junior Caminero just kind of blew past him and was done after a minute. It was just.
How about him?
Yeah.
He came up short. I mean, I'm not trying to drill down and dig deep on the Derby.
Right.
It's just a freaking home run derby. These guys should look impressive in a somewhat casual environment.
Yep.
Super cool, big dumper guy, Cal Raleigh. He's got his brother, behind the plate. His dad's throwing him. Cool family bit associated with that. He just flinches, and it's 400 feet.
Yeah.
And then I'm losing track. He's got to be the tallest guy of the bunch. And
O'Neal Cruz?
He hit that 500 and change last night.
118 miles an hour off the bat.
There is an video game style entertainment. It's a derby. It's a Monday night in July. We just did a management mandated list on NFL franchises who've never had league MVPs. We're all just trying to get to training camp. But this Caminero and then Cal Raleigh, who's having a season for the ages, it sounds like. First catcher, I think, to win the Derby.
Right.
Ortiz, as you mentioned. These guys are freaking awesome. And it's kind of cool to see the youth infusion to tell us how good this league's going to be moving forward with some of these guys if you put their faces on billboards, right?
Yeah, because I didn't know anything about the Washington Nationals guy, and I was intrigued by his 6'7" frame in the batter's box. I believe the Twins go to Washington, and Washington comes here. I think the Nats come here to get to see him in person. So I was kind of intrigued by kind of seeing some people I'm not familiar with. So that's the cool thing about events like this. So for a sports writer, it's hell. We call the Monday before the All-Star game the sports writer solstice, the longest day of writing of the year.
Really?
Yeah, because you're up at 9 o'clock and it's a day you interview all the participants. So, and then you either, I don't know if it's tomorrow, yesterday or today, but then you've got preview stories you got to write for the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Finish up on that. And then you got to cover the home run derby. And so then you're pretty much putting in like a 13-hour day. You're getting there at 9. You're not getting done till midnight. And then today it's crazy because I believe this is a day that both Rob Manfred and Players Association Chief Tony Clark both addressed the media because the BBWA meeting is today. So it also coincides with both the commissioner and the head of the union addressing the media and taking questions. So there's going to be some controversial stuff. You might hear the first saber rattling ahead of the 2026 CBA negotiation come out of this bit today. So there were some rumblings of that in today's paper because Bill Shaken from the LA Times wrote about the next battleground, which is owners that build these stadiums that are also next to hotels and restaurants and shops where they can maximize revenue. And while they're telling the players, yeah, let's split revenue 50-50, but they don't have to split any of the money that they're making on the side, So that's the next battleground because I'm sure the Players Association is going to want a cut of that money since it's basically they're making that money basically off the baseball team,
right?
Which they influence. So, there's going to be it's going to be an uncomfortable year and a half here until the next CBA is ratified.
You think so?
Oh yeah, it is because owners seem more resolved than ever to try to get some sort of salary cap, and they should. When the New York Mets can spend $200 million more than the Twins and the A's and whatever in payroll, I think it's $300 million more than the A's. That's just crazy. And it has to be addressed. So
would it be what is more likely? Could you do a salary cap or could you at least institute a salary floor?
No, the union's against that because they believe that if there's a floor, that means you can have a ceiling. So they think a floor would just be a step toward a ceiling. Here's what the owner should do first, and it's not going to lead to immediate. It's going to help a little bit, but not a lot. They only split about 40% of their television revenue. So when the Yankees and the Dodgers are getting over $300 million a year from their local TV deals, they're pretty much using that to pay the payroll. The Twins, last time as a reporter, got $58 million. You know what I'm saying? So if they took all their local TV revenue and put it in a pot and split it 30 ways, that would help the teams on the bottom, and it would drag a little bit on the teams at the top. And that would just be a start toward having a little more parity and stopping teams from signing Shohei Ohtani to $600 million deals or Juan Soto to $800 million deals.
Unbelievable.
So I still think there's going to have to be some sort of salary structure in place eventually, but it may take the league shutting down for a year to get the players that come that far.
Well, it'd be, I don't know. It's a tough thing because MLB and American sports in general, I hear it, you look at like Premier League and some of these more open format leagues, more globally, of course, but you get into those arguments where, you want something to grow organically, you have the haves and the have-nots, certainly, and you see in those other leagues, but kind of the idea of if you sell the shirts, if you sell the tickets and you have the TV station, you should be able to keep all that money. But the value of this league, the Yankees have Yes Network and certainly the Dodgers have their revenue mechanisms. I'm not familiar with their TV bits out west, but I'm sure they're making a couple of bucks on it. But their value in their existence is parity, and their value in their existence is the closed system of Major League Baseball. So the uniqueness of that, you see the NFL and owners, I'm sure Jerry Jones would like to keep a couple more dollars, but the revenue sharing has helped prop up to make it an environment that is more interesting and more marketable in totality.
Well, someone correct me on this. Jerry's already gone. Historically, he's gone against the grain and has signed his own advertising deals with companies going against the NFL's policies, right? I think he has.
I think I've heard some. I can't speak knowingly to that.
He's been like the maverick of this group. One of them, at least.
But if they can't, yes, a salary cap, they need to figure out how the Oakland A's can't do what they're doing. And they can't, where franchises are just absolutely languishing and they're still getting their gate receipts here, there, and anywhere. But from a parity standpoint, the lack of competitiveness in the cornfields is a huge problem.
Yeah, and the teams that make good baseball decisions, the ones that have strong farm systems, like the Rays, and to an extent the Twins, because they have developed a lot of their.
We got the 6'11" guy now.
Yeah,
I want to see him.
It shows because they generally remain competitive and don't have too many clunker seasons. The Twins have been to the playoffs a couple of times on Morocco, and the Rays have always been somewhat relative in a really tough NL East
World
division.
Series.
But by the time we get to the Final Four in baseball, it's usually the big dogs when it comes to revenue.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the beginning, since you have 92 teams making the postseason and getting wild cards, yeah, you can say, well, look, that team, that's a low market team, and they made the playoffs, so there's not a problem. Yeah, but when it's time for Joe Ryan to face Shohei Ohtani with the bases loaded, you see the difference there.
That's correct. Thanks for hanging out with me, man.
This flew by. What time is it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got to pause. I got to come back. It's typical clock management by 9 to noon. It'll be like a minute and a half segment, and we'll say goodbye. You're the best, man.
Double dipping tomorrow. I'm doing the Lynx game at noon and the Loons at 7:30.
Oh, what a busy day for Lavelle. Living the life of the columnist.
So this is not a sports abyss to me. There's stuff going on. We have professional teams in this town playing games at home tomorrow.
That's a beautiful thing. Family day bit with the Lynx. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, some camping thing too. Yeah,
they do like kids camp. They get the kids to the game, which is going to be awesome. That's Lavelle Neal III at Lavelle Neal via X, columnist, Star Tribune, and final segment is indeed next night.
The last thing anyone wants is to leave behind confusion, stress, or worse, family conflict. That's why estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for families like mine, and probably like yours. With Trust and Will, I created my estate plan in minutes, from naming guardians for my kids to putting our house in a trust to avoid probate. Fast, affordable, and way easier than I thought. Every plan is designed by estate planning attorneys and customized for your state. Plans start at just $199 and include essentials like healthcare directives and power of attorney. With Trust and Will's bank-level security and built-in privacy protections, your personal information and your wishes stay safe. Whether you're newly married, raising kids, caring for aging parents, or just want peace of mind, Trust and Will makes it easy to protect what matters most. Go to trustandwill.com, use code RADIO at checkout, and save 20% on your personalized plan. Because there's no better time to protect the people you love. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
To noon. Hey, thanks for listening to 9 to Noon today. It is Nordo in for PA. Final vocal maintenance days before training camp lifts off next week. A week from today, the veterans will report. And a week from tomorrow, PA back in the saddle. We'll be at Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center in Eagan for a training camp show. Whether it was Corey on the front end, got a lot of text messages, by the way, Brett. People like poker more than you think. Just so the program director knows that. Big thanks to Dan Hayes, as well as Lavelle. Tomorrow, a little super show with Saucy to kick things off. But then Johnny Athletic, of course, Wolves in the Summer League going on. Ron Johnson will be in studio. We're going to go hardcore on the Vikings during the final stretch. But thank you so much for listening. The Grum is next. Have an awesome afternoon. Thanks for listening to The Fan.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
Every business has an ambition. PayPal Open is the platform designed to help you grow into yours. With business loans so you can expand and access to hundreds of millions of PayPal customers worldwide. And your customers can pay all the ways they want with PayPal, Venmo, Pay Later, and all major cards, so you can focus on scaling up. When it's time to get growing, there's one platform for all business. PayPal Open. Grow today at paypalopen.com. Loans subject to approval in available locations.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
This is Danielle Fishel from Pod Meets World. Parents, quick question. When is the last time you won snack time? The other day, I handed my son a perfectly portioned Pinterest-level snack, and he traded it for a Mott's applesauce pouch. I'm not mad, just impressed. And that's why Mott's no sugar added applesauce pouches are perfect to keep on hand. They're made with real apples, packed in a super easy pouch, perfect for tossing in a lunchbox, keeping in the car, or grabbing as you're running out the door. Plus, they're a good source of vitamin C, and kids love them. Win-win. Make sure your kid wins snack time with Mott's. Real apples make real good applesauce. Learn more at Mott's.com.
You're great at protecting your own personal information. You probably even use things like two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN. But as much as you try to be in control of how your information is protected, there are lots of places that also have it, and they might not be as careful as you are. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second for identity threats. If your identity is stolen, a LifeLock US-based restoration specialist will help solve identity theft issues on your behalf, guaranteed or your money back. Plus, all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, meaning LifeLock will reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. You might not be able to control how others handle your personal information, but you can help protect it with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Call 1-800-LifeLock and use promo code IHEART or go to lifelock.com/iHeart for 40% off. Terms apply.